not late today. There are no delays. The hybrid squad is here. It's Lockdown Series Volume 2, Episode 53. And it's Kevin Says. Get ready, squaddies. Here we go. Welcome to everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to the squad room, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Oh, how are you?
Good. I lost my mic doing that today, and I'll be happy to do that every single day. I'm good. How are you, Super Kev? You having a good day?
I'm good. I'm raring to go today. I wanna get stuck in.
Yes, we're going to get stuck back in. Okay, so let's say good evening to all of the goodies, the squaddies. They're goodies, of course. Hello, Fraser. Hello, Real Captain. They're already answering your questions, so hold the mayo, you guys. Hold the mayo. Wow, Alcarp, sorry to hear that you are so sick.
That's not good.
Just have a shot of whiskey. You'll feel a lot better. Good evening, Matty K. Hope you had a good birthday and you're not hungover. Hello, Moss. And let's keep going down here, Kev. Suraj, hello, and happy birthday, of course. Yeah. Newman's promising not to cause any trouble tonight. I don't believe that for a second. Yeah, no one's believing that for a second. Johnny Boy, hello. Good evening, everybody. Okay, Hastings, Guna, hello. Yes, no alarm tonight. Newman, you'll be happy to hear. So let's get on with it, shall we? Taib, hello. Good evening to all of the squaddies and everybody in chat. Bang on time tonight. No fines, no bans for anybody. Good evening. And hello, Matthew Hudson. And yes, the Flowhawk. This is the hair, man. Just get used to it. So many comments, Kev, about the hair. I don't even know where to begin.
They're loving it. They're loving it.
Also, thanks to everyone who wrote to us, more so than any other show we've had. Monday's show, the West Ham postgame show, over 250 comments, I think, based on, the postgame and passion and heart and lots of really good comments and lots of comments that we answered, whether they were positive or negative. So we just wanted to say thanks to everybody. Right. Tonight is all about Super Kevin Campbell and his Kevin Says segment. He's got some stuff prepped for you. And before we do that, Kev, we also have to give a shout out to our good friends at Football Prizes.
Yes. It's a special one.
No,
I don't need to say. Look at the shirt. Come on. And look who it is. Right. Come on. You know it makes sense.
I'm not even going to say anything. Go get your ticket now.
Did you notice it comes with the LED lights?
It comes with the LED lights.
There you go.
It's for the moment.
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay, go over to footballprizes.co.uk and get your ticket for this little sexy puppy. It's Ian Right. It's the bruised banana. Need we say more? No. Just go buy a ticket. Don't wait till Thursday's free ticket because you're not going to want to miss out on this. They are going fast. Right. Speaking of someone else who wore the bruised banana and did the Arsenal very proud whenever he wore the shirt, it's Super Kevin Campbell. And here we go, you guys. Get ready. One question at a time.
Hi, everyone. And this is Kev Says 23, and it's going to be short, sharp, and to the point. Let's get it going. Listen, I'm going to say this now. I'm going to have to engage with you and deal with you and speak, and we're going to have to do all that in the chat. So, number one, on our current form of over our last 12 games, which is a good snapshot, we sit 6. So, we know our form's been up and down. So, is it the number of games that's causing it? Or is it the attitude why we sit 9th? That's question
Okay, so when I heard this, when you first sent it to me, I had to rewind it and look over it a couple times, because I think what you're saying here, Kev, is that even though we are currently in ninth, the form table shows that we're sixth.
From Christmas, from the last 12 games,
Right.
says we're sixth.
Right.
But our form is still up and down. So is it because of the games why we're our form's good, but we're still up and down? Is it because of the games, or is it because of the attitude?
So I felt a little bit like Matty K. This is a hard question because I had to play your video that you sent to me a couple times, and I listened to it, and I'm like, well, I didn't argue with Tom from Guna Talk. I said, because he kept bringing up this form, the table form, and I said, well, Tom, the league starts in August. It doesn't start in January or December. And so therefore, as well as we've done, I want to credit the team, the deficiencies that show how poor we had been from August, Kev, to December, glaring, right? Those first 3.5 months especially were just agonizingly bad. So I'm just going to get to the squaddies here and get their comments and feedback, because for me, I think it's a change of attitude versus form, but also a little bit like Manchester United. I would say that Bruno Fernandes' influence on that team changed things, and I think Martin Ødegaard has changed things for us. So the real captain says we're not good enough, in my opinion. Taib thinks it's the attitude and the character. Matthew says it's always attitude for me. Stefan says no, it's the team. Look at United. That's my comparison. De Solo says it's got to be the mentality. I think it has a lot to do with that. Kev always gives us his response at the end of the show, but he's going to answer some of your questions here. It's always got to be attitude. So here's one from Jasher. Since the start of January, the goal scoring trend in the Premier League shows our inconsistency. 9 for 1 against, 4 3 against, 4 4 4 against, 4. I mean, I don't know what your comments are, but I get what you're saying here. Kev, our inconsistency this season has mostly been not being able to score goals versus being poor defensively, which is a switcheroo.
No, but that relates right back. Is our form up and down because of the games so close together? Or is it just the attitude? Because we battle on air sometimes, Sophie, don't we, about why do they come out in the first half and not why did they play the first half and then be brilliant in the second half? Why at Wolves were they great in the first half and not good in the second? So we can always level that at the team. But I wanna ask the squaddies, is it because of the back-to-back games and it keeps changing and players are tired, etc.? Or is it the attitude up here?
Okay, so good evening, by the way, to 200 plus of you in live chat. Thanks for joining us for Kev's segment tonight. Fel B, Kev, attitude and mentality. We have a lot of talent in the squad. It's a state of mind. So we often talk about how we've gotten rid of the Kolasinacs, the Mustafis and the Ozils of the world. Torreira, Guendouzi, different kettle of fish in terms of going out on loan. Mavropanos the same. Maitland-Niles, Willock also different. When you switch a little bit of that dressing room culture, some fans still think it's a state of mind even with the new players that we have, and that there hasn't been a total evolution and adaptation right now. What do you think about what Fel B's saying here?
I'm going to leave it to the end because because that is along the lines where I'm going to go.
Okay. So Stefan also adds, this doesn't matter if we look at it overall. We're a shambolic team this season. Do you think we're a shambolic team in the Premier League, or do you just think we're a shambolic team, period? That's easy one for you to answer before you get stuck into the
I
nuts
think
and
we were.
bolts.
I think we were shambolic. I know you're asking him that, but I know we were shambolic at times before Christmas. But in the last 12 games, you can't hide from it. Our form says we're 6, and I know that doesn't relate to where we are in the league, but it's about progression. This is what we're talking about. We want to progress. We want to finish as high as we can. But because we're so up and down, in that game on Sunday, it was a snapshot of our season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
First half was diabolical, and then for an hour, we were incredible.
What do you think of Johnny Boy's comment, Kev, where he says the frequency of games doesn't help if we don't put out consistent teams? There's a spin here in terms of,
Johnny Boy's got a point.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Boy has got a real good point, because if the games were Saturday to Saturday, Sophie, it gives the manager a chance to really work on system, technique, understanding with the team on the training pitch. But because they're playing every 3 games, you're playing, then it's recovery. You don't get a chance. You could do it. You could do walkthroughs. You could do video session, but there's nothing like doing it on a football pitch. Training it against opposition who are playing in the same way the opposition will play. That's how you get it knuckled down.
So, Kev, can you answer this one for Mr. Waffles? Who is responsible for the attitude of the team as a whole? Because you and I go back and forth about manager influence versus being motivated as a player. What are your thoughts on what Mr. Waffles is asking here?
It's the players. Again, look, the bottom line is this. The manager could only do so much to get you to that pitch. Once you get on that pitch, the players are the one who has to do the business. Unfortunately, the manager can't do it. And what we have seen, Sophie, and this is where we see the attitude take a 180 on Sunday, because the attitude of the team was lackadaisical. We were slow. We weren't switched on. It's a London derby, for God's sake, and West Ham ran all over us for half an hour. 3-0 up, deservedly so. We deserve nothing. But normally, that game's over. But we saw, and again, part of the culture comes into the attitude. But we're starting to see the team have a little bit of fight about them now. It's not where we want it to be, Sophie, that's for sure. But we're starting to see some shoots of life in this team. And I tell you what, there ain't many teams who could come back from 3-0 down against West Ham, because they're flying high.
They've been pretty good this season, and we've talked about them a lot on this show. Nicholas, thanks for joining the show. We've been poor in Europe, not just inconsistent in the league. The problem is the attitude of the players and the lack of accountability from the manager. You've talked about the players and the attitude. What do you think about Nicholas's claim about...
I don't think we've been poor in Europe. We've lost one game. That was Olympiacos. That was the one place where we were flying, was in Europe. We have made mistakes, and against Benfica, Ceballos nearly put us in the creek, in the Ish Creek, but we didn't quite get there, and the lads pulled it out. And then obviously against Olympiacos, we shot ourselves in the foot again. But we've had some decent performances in the Europa League. But one thing I will say, when we do play in Europa, there used to be, when we come back, there used to be a reaction, and it wasn't a good reaction, Sophie, when we played in the Europa. Then we got through against Benfica, which was a big result for us. Then we were playing Leicester on the Sunday. You remember? the attitude at the Leicester game, people are saying, "Oh, he's changed it. Williams playing this, that, that." We blitzed them, and that was by making a mistake, giving them a goal, and we blitzed them 3-1. Could have been more. So again, this team is so inconsistent in the mentality, in the way they approach games. This isn't down to the manager. This is down to the players.
Okay, so
100%.
that leads on to Mag's question. Thanks for joining us, Mags. Inconsistency in squad selection. Players that play good are randomly benched for the next game. We don't keep the same back four. I think he has a point here. We've talked about Nicola Pepe maybe deserving a chance because he's played well. We talked about Gabriel. He's come back into his form, gets benched against West Ham. What do you think about Mags and what he's he or she is saying here?
I think Mikel Arteta's been pretty consistent in rotating the squad. I think he has. But again, everybody seems to know the best team to pick. That's the problem. Everybody's got an opinion on who should be playing, who shouldn't be playing. But it's Mikel Arteta's job. That's his job. That's what he's paid to do. And he picks the team that he feels is going to win the games. Now, let's be honest, no matter who he plays, we've seen the team go up and we've seen the team go down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's quite valid where this one should be playing because we've seen Pepe come in and the team have played good. We've seen Pepe come in and the team have played bad. So this is all about the point I'm trying to make. Is it because there's a lot of games? He's going to have to rotate his squad. He's not the only manager that doesn't rotate the squad. That does rotate the squad. Or is it just the attitude of the players? Because, Lacazette comes out after the game and says the players didn't do what the manager asked. Now, is that down to the manager or is that down to the players? That's down to the players. If the players don't do what the manager asked,
unless they were confused, unless there was confusion.
No, listen, we're talking about professional players. That's their job. They're not confused about anything. The bottom line is, if you don't do what the manager says, and then you come in unstuck, and then you do what the manager says, and then you go on that tear in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Well,
can't legislate for it.
Okay,
we can't.
There's a ton. There's 300 plus in live chat. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm going to try and get to as many of your comments as I can. I'm also going to ask you to hit the like button if you hate Tottenham. It's my new thing. Yeah. It's my new way of getting people to hit likes.
Hold on. I'm hitting it. D Solo says, he just said.
Wait, hold on for this one. Game. Yeah, we do. And this goes to Harry's as well, right? So D Solo is saying what a lot of others are saying, okay? We turn up for one game, then we don't show up for two. We saw that. Spurs, dominant, brilliant. Leicester, dominant, brilliant. Spurs, North London derby, huge win. We lose at home to Olympiacos in the Europa League, Kev, and then we go on and have a first half performance like that against West Ham. Harry's comment here, talent, work ethic go hand in hand. If you think you can show up and not put in a shift, not all pulling in the same direction, Mikel Arteta needs to sort out some more dead weight. You see a slight improvement. And I think from what Harry... I want to move on from what Harry's saying too, because then we go on to, well, who are the leaders and who's showing that right mental attitude? And you go to block HD here. Aubameyang's attitude as our captain is 1,000% a problem. Kev, do you think that these mature players who are professionals take their tune from Aubameyang, or how much of an influence does he have as a captain?
I wouldn't say that at all. Aubameyang, because Aubameyang's captain and it looks like he's got a real bad attitude or whatever, affects the team. No chance. Because even when Aubameyang wasn't there, we've had up and down games. So what do you say about that? Do you understand what I mean?
Well, you've said as well that we play better with Lacazette in that number 9 role.
But what I'm saying is, but we've seen the team struggle with Lacazette at number 9. That's my point over the season. You know what I mean? So again, what we're looking at is a snapshot of 12 games where we're 6th position in the form table, which we say, okay, we'll take that. We're better, but our form is still like that. For instance, the Burnley game, Burnley away, we played well first half, should have been way out of sight, and then we go and commit suicide at the back, and then we can't score in the second half. But that's just the way it is for us at the moment, Sophie, and it is so frustrating.
What would you say to Zamir, who says what quite a few people are thinking? Our best games this season have come without Aubameyang in the team. And, you know, sometimes Lacazette's attitude as a captain and on the pitch, Kev, galvanizes players a little bit more. He gets involved a little bit more, works harder a little bit more. Is there some credit to what Zamir's saying here in terms of Oba?
Well, listen, you can say that, and I definitely think when Lacazette plays as a number 9, that's our best chance. But Oba could be in the team or out the team. As long as Lacazette's there and we play through him, we're a better team because he's more built to do what Arteta wants, to be able to get hold of it and bring other players into the game. But Aubameyang's the best striker.
Not this season. He has been.
No. He's our best striker.
Not this. Yeah.
No. He's our best striker. He hasn't been our best striker this season, but he is our best striker. And if we're gonna win anything, Aubameyang's gonna have to be the man. He's gonna have to step up.
But what if he can't, Kevin? What if he
can't? If he can't, we're not gonna win. I'm telling you now.
Maybe it will lead on to your second question here that we're going to get to in just a little bit. South London's finest, the Aubameyang captain thing is a joke. All this hate for a player who's carried us for seasons. Yes, he's been poor this season, but where was Laka and others in the past season? Well, Laka's not the same player as Oba, and Laka does different things to Aubameyang. Aubameyang has been an out-and-out goal scorer his entire career. That's what he has made and built his name on. Is that fair, Kevin? And to be fair, yes, he has saved us, as have Leno's saves, and we've said this on this show many times. But this season, there is definitely a huge difference. So we're not criticizing Aubameyang for what he's done. We're just highlighting what he's not been doing this season, and that's glaring, Kev. It's there for everybody to see.
Yeah, but you know what, Sophie, and South London's finest makes a good point. But when Aubameyang is scoring goals, it raises our team to a different level. It does, because that clinical edge is there.
Yes.
When that clinical edge isn't there, Sophie, we're an also ran like, look at us in the middle of the table. Do you understand what I mean? When Aubameyang's banging that goal in, we are in the higher echelons. We may not be at the top, but we are better than where we are. We're around 6th, 5th, or whatever, trying to get into that Champions League. But bless you, darling. Bless you.
Excuse me.
Yeah. And it tickles your nose when he's not doing it. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's Aubameyang doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. What do you say? Because some people are talking about mentality. Some people are talking about form. Some people are talking about rotation and dropping players. Oh, my goodness.
Well, dear.
Excuse me, you guys. I don't know what's happened. And Pepe is and has been dropped. But for me, it's a mix of everything, Kev, you know?
Yeah, but people talk about players getting dropped. It happens. Rotation is going to happen. It is going to happen, especially with games so quick back to back. You know?
What do you think of Leroy's comment? Listen to Lee Dixon talk about Adams. Listen to Super Kevin Campbell talk about Adams. When it comes to team attitude, we need a leader, a Vieira or an Adams. There's definitely been a lack of leadership.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, Leroy. Leroy, hold on a minute. Do you reckon if we had a Tony Adams or a Vieira in this team, what do you think they would do? What do you think they would do with this team? They'll be going beside themselves. Why? Because one player is not going to change it. One player is going to demand, but one player doesn't change it. You need the group to have the attitude. Football isn't a one-man team, and people talk about Tony Adams. Tony Adams was a great captain, but he had people with the same attitude with him. Makes life so much easier.
It's very difficult when you're in the trenches and people are not like-minded like you. It is exceptionally challenging when you are managing a team or you're at the forefront of a team and they do not have the same goals and mentality as you do. It is hugely challenging. And Arsenal have been definitely, it's been their Achilles heel. They don't have and never have had 11 players on the pitch at the same time, Kev, that share the same attitude and goals. And part of that, and part of that is the excuse me, guys, I don't know what's happening to me here, but part of that has to do with how the team is managed too. No, that they're not on the same page. That how can one player? You can explain this to me. How can you be ready and the guy next to you not? Is he lazy?
Attitude. So it's listen. If 5 of the players, if we're a team. 11 are going out on the pitch. 5 of us are ready, and 6 of us aren't. We ain't winning.
So can I go to this comment because it might define this entire conversation? Is it this, Kev? You got Bellerin, who thinks Sanchez is too hard and wants to win too much, and Bellerin, who's this professional. Does this define exactly what you mean?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And I was going to mention that at the end, but thanks, Tom.
Okay. All right. All right. This is good stuff, you guys. Amazing comments. And I'm going to keep bringing them up and putting them up for you. We're 27 minutes in. We still got 2 more to go. And I think you guys know how this rolls. Kev, some good initial comments from everyone. Johnny Boy thinks you make a great point about players and collectiveness. Winston thinks that he sees an attitude changing.
It is. I agree with Winston for a bit, actually.
Moss thinks I'm allergic to Arteta, which might well be
I
true.
agree with that as well, Moss.
All right, let's move on to the next section of Kevin Says here. 393, almost 400 strong live with Super Kevin Campbell.
If you hate Tottenham, hit the like.
That's our new thing. If you hate Tottenham, hit that like button. I'm gonna get the rhyme spot on at some point. All right, here we go, you guys. Kev's next question. Get ready. Fingers on the pulse.
Question 2 is it time to give Martinelli a chance and potentially drop over? It's question 2.
Well, Lee, you're kicking it off right. Now we've gotten to 415 in live chat. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate those who've hit the like button because they do hate Tottenham. Kev, this is the question du jour. You know, it's the $64 million question. I think in the short glimpses we've seen him come on as a sub in the last couple of games, you see the hungry eyes. You see how he's just burning to be involved, how he wants to be part of the Arsenal, how he's so ready to have an impact. We've talked about resting him after his injury. We've talked about this grander plan and how he's been working overtime. You said exclusively on this show that you know that all of these things are happening and
in the background,
in the background regarding Martinelli. So I'm just going to hand it over to all of the squaddies right now because this one's a hot one. I mean, I'm just going to start with the yes, yes, yes. I mean, there are folks here. Would you drop and sell Oba? Kev, what do you think of this turn? And we talked about it on our show a few days ago that some fans at this point are in the camp of let's sell Oba if we can and keep Laka and groom Martinelli. What do you think about that?
I think it's... I understand it because sometimes the fan base are looking at right now. I still think he's our best striker, and I support Aubameyang. If you remember earlier on in the season when he wasn't scoring goals, I said I'd stick with him because he's our best striker. Whether we like it or not, whether he's in form or not, he's our best striker. Fact of the matter is, we're up and down as a team. It's not his fault, but he doesn't. It looks as though he doesn't contribute as much when he doesn't score, because he doesn't. He is our shooter. He's got to be at that top end of the pitch making the difference, Sophie. That's what he's there for. He's there. When the chances come, he takes them. Aubameyang, brilliant. But when you look at his all-round game, isn't like Lacazette or a Pepe or a Ødegaard or a Smith Rowe or a Saka. His all-round game isn't that. And we need somebody different. We need somebody to be able to play on the shoulder. And somebody mentioned about a low block. We've seen him beat the low block against Benfica. When Benfica defended deep, he can beat the low block with a great run, and Saka put a pass in and he dinked it over the goalkeeper. So we can beat the low block. His problem has been he's not been as clinical as he usually is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying for strikers: as long as you're getting the chances, Sophie, you should be. You'll be disappointed you don't take them, but you're happy that you're getting the chances. Mm-hmm. Aubameyang, he got 3 chances, good chances against Olympiacos, and didn't take one. That's not like Oba. And I think that's why the fan base are getting a little bit frustrated, because that's his job. His job is to be the difference maker.
And I think it's just been so glaring because he has been the saviour, and he has been, if not our best player over 2 seasons. And to see him regress so much this season, I think it's shocking to the Arsenal fans. And it's a pickle. And it's like, how? Why is this happening? We're not creating as many chances. Like you've said, Kev, the creativity is definitely lessened because the focus has been more on the defense and conceding less and being much stronger at the back at the sacrifice of what we're doing at the front, nick a goal when we can. So it hasn't been at the forefront. And maybe as this team evolves and emerges over the summer, he may get more chances. I've kept this on here because I wanted to throw this at you from Jack Lampard. No relation to Frank Lampard, I don't think. Absolutely, why not try a front 4 of Martinelli, Pepe, Ødegaard, and Lacazette? Tell me why this can and can't work, regardless of the offensive Arsenal, forgive the pun here, with regards to what Jack's saying, Kev.
No, there's no reason why it can't work. There's no reason. It just hasn't been picked yet. That's all. That's the easy answer.
Is it because of the fragility of tracking back that it hasn't been picked? Is it too offensive for Arteta? Is it too extreme?
No, I don't think so. I just think that permutation hasn't been picked. Mm-hmm. It's down to the manager. But listen, if they're in our squad and we know they're good players, they can all play together. Mm-hmm. But that particular permutation of Pepe, Ødegaard, was it Smith Rowe and Lacazette, just hasn't been picked yet.
Do you think this is true? Do we have the money to replace Aubameyang with a world-class striker, or if it's Lacazette that goes and we have to replace that number 9, or we don't have to worry about it because there's already a plan for Martinelli? Kev, what's your take on this?
Well, we've got a world-class striker. We've got a world-class.
Well, not this season. He's not. On paper, he is, but on action, he's not.
We have got a world-class striker
who's not performing.
Yeah, that's it. Now, if you're going to swap a world-class striker for another world-class striker, that to me makes no sense. We've already got one in the building.
Okay, but can I throw this to you? Because I'm sure there's been times where you've been benched and you've been pissed about it, right? Mm-hmm. So what about what Mario says here? I'd give Martinelli a chance over Oba. Maybe that will spank him back into form. Does that as a striker? Does that work for you? Did it work for you, Kev?
But it's not about me. It's about him.
Okay, so him. And will that work for him?
Hold on. We've seen, after being dropped in the North London derby, his form's gone to pot. That's what we've seen. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I mean? For me, it was that's why I said after North London derby, I want to see him against Olympiacos roll his sleeves up and say, I'll show you, manager. Go out, get a couple or a hat-trick and just walk off with a match ball under your arm. Don't need to say a word. You don't need to say a thing if you've done the business. But for me, does he want to score goals? Of course he wants to score goals. But it seems like that instinct has deserted him a little bit, Sophie, this season. He gets it and then it goes. But, you know, the way where we are as a team and as a fan base, we've got the binoculars out because we watch everything now.
Yeah.
Because he's not scoring the goals. If Aubameyang was scoring the goals, nobody would care. Does he get involved with the play? He don't do this, he don't do that. Goal scoring is the hardest thing on a football pitch to do. That's why they are the top boys. That's why they get paid the most money. But he's not doing what he's supposed to do. And I can guarantee you, it is driving him mad.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about this, TY? Aubameyang will forever be a hero at Arsenal. Not yet.
Well, look. Let's be honest. Without him, we don't win a trophy at the end of last season, the FA Cup. He has kept the club going because of his goals over the last couple of seasons. But I just think this season is a magnifying glass. We're under a magnifying glass now, and all problems are exacerbated. They're bigger now. And Aubameyang, we need Aubameyang to score goals. That's what he's in the team for. And when he doesn't score goals, Sophie, we're not the same club. We're not the same club. You know, it's if he's scoring, we're all right. If he's not scoring, we struggle. We do.
Do you think if Willian was available, Martinelli would get the shouts right now? Because a couple of people brought that up about Willian. You know, is that a fact, or is that true to you, Kev? That would he be getting a shout depending on certain players being available or rested, etc., etc.?
No, I just honestly think Martinelli's raw. He's got raw talent, and to be playing, Martinelli hasn't played 6 months in a Premier League. We have the same shout about Balogun. People calling for Balogun. He should get a chance. He's not played half a season in the Premier League, let alone be picked over players who have got all the experience. And yeah, they were doing bad earlier on in the season. 100%. William was awful earlier on in the season. But William's form has picked up. We've seen certain players' form pick up. We've seen certain players go up, go down, go up, go down. This is a conundrum that Mikel Arteta, I'm telling you, he must be losing sleep over it. Because he trains them, he asks them to do that, they can do it on a training pitch. Next minute, they get on the pitch and they can't do it. He must be thinking, what do I have to say to them? What do I have to do? Because they portray that the attitude is right. And it's not. But I think he knows Martinelli is the future. But he wants to get him up to speed. He really wants to get him up to speed, because I remember in the Brighton game, which I'd done for Amazon, Aubameyang and Martinelli played, and Aubameyang likes to drift out to the left. And Martinelli wasn't quite sure what to do to go in as the number 9. He wasn't quite sure. I think Mikel Arteta wants to get this kid up to speed, and we have to give him time. Look, these guys know what they're doing. Look at Phil Foden, for instance, at City. All of a sudden now, when he plays, there's no drop off. There is no drop off. That's what we need with Martinelli. We don't need him to be coming on, running around and showing all his energy, etc. But he's got to have the pictures in his head. Football's about the pictures. When certain things happen, you've got to be able to adjust. And I don't think he's got the pictures in his head just yet. So could he be involved more? Of course he could. Of course, he could be involved more.
Yeah.
But I think he's starting to come on now, which is the great thing. After all the work he's been doing, he's starting to get that little few minutes now. I think this is the time, and I'm sure we're going to use him right to the end now.
Yeah. And also, I think what Matthew just said, the fact that he took Ober off and brought Martinelli on in that game says a lot. The midfield's improved is what DJ Easy is saying. A lot of people have a lot of love for Aubameyang, Kev, because of what he's done. Some people talking about his age and being worried that he's going to be 32. We've given him this big contract. What do you think about that?
That's no problem. He's still getting the chances. He still keeps himself fit. Oh, the samurai come out.
Just prepping.
Well, look, me personally, I give Aubameyang the benefit of the doubt because we know he is our best striker. Yeah, he hasn't been doing it, but he's still getting the chances. And you know what? He will turn it round. He will. He will turn it round because you can't keep these guys down. These guys are too good.
Kev, do you think he's going to turn it around this season, or do you think he's going to have one of those moments typical?
If we're gonna have any chance of winning that Europa, he has to, because that's where the high stakes football comes in, Sophie. High stakes football is so important, so important. You get one chance or two chances, you've got to take it. I don't think Laka's that striker. Aubameyang is that striker, and Aubameyang has proven he is that striker. But he's got to take it.
I agree, and I think, like Darren, he's the kind of player that can turn it on and somehow get the goal that you need when at the moment that you need it desperately. This is what big time players do. This is what captains are supposed to do. This is what the most expensive players are supposed to do. These are the things we expect him to do, right, Kevin? And a lot of and again, to follow up with Darren's comment, now's not the time for experiments. At this time of the season, you have to be ready and trust who you've trusted versus how much are you going to tinker at this point of the season? We did that at West Ham and it didn't help us in the first half, in my opinion. Also, there was a good comment, Newman, because we were talking about age. Vardy is a very rare breed. Hardly any 33 to 34-year-olds banging them in other than Ronaldo, of course. And he's very
Sophie.
Yeah,
but Sophie, have you not seen? Jamie Vardy's on a goal drought.
Yeah, and he's had Harvey Barnes, who's injured now, and he had Maddison to help him.
Exactly. Other players have to pitch in and help carry your guy until he gets his form back. Now, you don't see anybody complaining about Jamie Vardy because Jamie Vardy does bring something to that team,
right?
A lot. But this is why the magnifying glass is out on Aubameyang, because when you look at Aubameyang, there ain't a lot that he does.
Right. Also, Kev, I know people are bringing up Benzema and Lewandowski. Lewandowski and Benzema, they do a lot off the ball as well. I mean, they
play for teams that are.
Come on, come on. I mean, and Zlatan is shining in an AC Milan team that is rebuilding in a league that is also not as great as some of the others. I'm sorry, it's just a fact. But I love Zlatan. Everyone knows how I feel about Zlatan. Right, we are already 44 minutes in. I'm gonna squeeze this one into. Kev wraps it up in this last one, and also hands out his bonus question. Get ready, because I think you guys are going to have, I think this is going to be yes across the board, but let's see what you think. Here we go. Kevin says part 3 today, the bonus question.
The bonus question is a simple one. Should we go all out to sign Martin Ødegaard? So, on current form, we sit 6th. But we're obviously 9th in the table. Is it the number of games or is it the attitude of the team? Number 2, is it time to give Martinelli a run in the side and potentially drop over? And should we go all out to sign Martin Ødegaard? See you in the chat. Bye.
Kev, it's a simple yes for me.
And I said, and remember, everyone in the chat, I said all out.
All out.
Yes. Should we go all out to get him?
So I'm going to let you, these are coming in so thick and fast on Ødegaard, of course. Matthew says C. Suraj says yes. A says no. If you're going to say no, A, please explain why. Tanner, Bearded Gooner, you turned up late, but you're not getting in a timeout just because you've got a great beard. And we're not doing that today. We announced it at the start of the show. 100% yes. Moss says yes. Avon, yes. Temp. You can see all these coming in. Only one no so far. Did you see the meme I sent in an email, Sophie? Is this about Ødegaard? I may not have seen it yet, Alcart, but I promise I will. Let me know what it's about if it's about this. Hastings Gooner, yes, yes, yes. LV, yes. Fraser, I mean, we are going to wait until the end of the season. No deals happening now, Mr. J. But if his form like this continues, Kev, until the end of the season, seems like a no-brainer. Jean says yes. Gooner Ron says yes, 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 absolutely. Wait until June. No one's signing him now, you guys. We're talking about the summer. And, of course, we're going to wait. A little note from me. Just reminding everyone in chat to hit the like button. Yes, across the board from Carl. 100%. Okay, so you get the picture here, Kev. It's 100% yes. There's only one no so far. Marco says no if we're going to use all the transfer budget. What are your thoughts on that?
Now this is what I was just going to say. Thank you, Marco.
All out, right?
Right. So it's either we're all in or we're out. Because let's just say, for argument's sake, we have a transfer budget of 100 million, for instance. Do you spend the lion's share of it on Ødegaard? Or do you fill the other spots that we need? I.e., a partner for Partey in the centre midfield, a right back, a backup left back, and maybe another couple of players that can play higher up the pitch? Or do we get one player?
So I think in order to get this done, there's going to have to be a couple of sacrifices, Kev. So, and also the way he's been playing. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm having a brain fart. Are Norway in the Euros this year? Chat, help me out with this. I can't remember if Norway are in the Euros, but
are they in the Euros? I'm not sure,
Here's the problem, Kev, with getting our business done early. I want us to get our business done early, especially if we're identifying players from Europe. You do not want the Euros to hit and then get stuck in a war with
Big
PSG
time.
and United and City and Chelsea and all these clubs that just have more of the exponential income.
They missed out. They missed out, Soph. Norway. They
missed out. Okay, so that's a good thing because, obviously not for Martin and players like Haaland because you want to see the best play. Someone's telling me that, no, Denmark are in, but he's from Norway, you guys. He's Norwegian. He's not Danish.
I like that. Denmark are in.
Is saying yes. No, I don't think they are in. I don't think Norway made it.
They lost to Serbia.
In the playoffs, right? Weren't they in the playoffs?
It said they lost to Serbia.
Okay. So this is where...
That's right. If Google's wrong, then it's wrong.
So, Kev, this is where people are saying, sell Aubameyang, get us extra money, sell Lacazette. I mean, we could sell Bellerin. You and I have been through, and if you guys haven't seen it on our YouTube channel, we've got this transfer show where we're talking about who do we sell, what are we going to recoup, what's the market value, who is on a certain contract, where do we make the most value based on where some player contracts are right now. And it's not easy to balance the books, get the right players you need, especially as desperate as we are. So I think that with Ødegaard, my cap's 50 million. My cap is 50
What,
because
50 million down or 50 million total?
total. And that might be cheap, and I might be shopping, I might be, it's the Four Seasons versus the Red Robin again all over, KC. But if I sell Bellerin and I make 25, if I sell Maitland-Niles, I make 20, Willock maybe 15. Now you're talking about going deep into the squad and getting rid of players that are out on loan. What are you left with? Who's going to rise from the under 23s? And then people are talking about Lacazette. Well, hold on a second. I mean, he's trying to build this team in his image and to his style.
And to build a squad. You need a squad. Yeah, you do.
And Alistair, I hear you sell all the loanees. You sell Kolasinac is going to come back at some point. We've got to figure that out. Mavropanos, do you keep him? Do you sell him? We had this show the other day. Real Captain agrees 50 million max. Yes, I mean, look, I also think he's still young, you guys. He hasn't won anything, right? So do you do a deal where you do a 40 million, like Yaya's saying, and add someone on, Kev? So we're going to get to that, and you're going to summarize everything for us now. We're at 51 minutes. You're listening to Kevin Says.
Add someone on.
Add someone
for Real
on.
Madrid, you know who they're going to want.
Saka, and it's not happening. Forget about it. No. It's not happening.
Not happening.
I don't think Mateo's had a horrible time now. I mean, his attitude, the interview he gave the other day. We're going to have Kevin Hatchard on the show next week, by the way. We're going to look at all of this European stuff. I love Kevin. Brilliant journalist. He's got some great insights. I'm going to talk about all of this. And Ketia, I think, because he's been out on loan, you might be able to get that money. Ainsley, I mean, these numbers, Kev, we just don't know, right?
I mean, if you could get 70 for those four players, then would you do it, Soph?
Well, Ceballos isn't a bartering, Zamir, because he's already on loan. We can't barter for him. And Darren, you're not going to get 30 million. Who is it? Someone said 30 million for Guendouzi. Who in Europe is going to... No one's going to pay 30 million for Guendouzi right now. And if you want to get Basuma... Alistair, you're right. Like this is why Kev's asking the question. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn the tables right now so we can carry on the discussion. I'll put as many of your comments up as possible, and we're going to have Kev answer his own questions as we always do on Kevin Says every week at the Highbury Squad. Let's start right at the very beginning, Kev, in terms of our position in the league, attitude versus games.
I think the attitude, I think the culture is changing for the better, but it's still the attitude for me, the attitude of the players. And, going into a London derby and not turning up. No, that's not right. So I get why you are angry, Sophie. But we've seen, over the years, we have seen, haven't we? Arsenal blown away in the first half and never come back. But second half, whatever he said to them in second half, they went out there and they put it on West Ham. And we ended up drawing the game and could have won it. We had a couple of chances to win the game. Even David Moyes said he was, happy with a point at the end. And if your team scores 3 goals at home, you say to yourself, whoa, we scored 3 and I'm happy with a point, but they got battered in the second half. Yeah, we had a couple of scares, which is going to happen. But the majority of the second half, we battered them. And it's the attitude that we get wrong. Either we get wrong in the second half or we get it wrong in the first half. I don't think I've ever seen this team put together 2 halves of football, and we're not going to dominate the ball for both halves. That's for sure. But I don't think I've ever seen this team put together 2 mentally tough halves. And that is our problem. That is our problem. Because if we can do that, that's when we'll start moving up the league.
Okay, interesting stuff. Our league position's very disappointing, and hopefully next season this will be addressed. Hopefully we can still climb the table. We got 2 big teams, and then the rest, we got Chelsea, Liverpool, and then we play the teams in the second below second half of the table. So I would expect us to get better results. I'd expect us to go on a bit of a run. I'd also hopefully expect us to maybe not lose both the Chelsea and Liverpool game, at least win one, get a draw with the other, but it's not going to be easy. Chelsea are exceptionally difficult to play these days. They may not be as sexy as they were, but they're very difficult to beat. Very efficient.
Yeah.
All right, Super Kev. Second question.
Is it time to give Martinelli
Is it time?
a chance? And even at the behest that Oba gets dropped. And I would say this might surprise a few people. I think it's time that Martinelli starts to get some game time, 100%. But I still think Aubameyang has his part to play. Now, he's got to buck his ideas up. And yeah, he might be on the bench one game or two games. But we know when the real crux of it comes around, Aubameyang, he has to find his form. And he's only going to find his form by playing. So I think there might be a shout that Martinelli and Aubameyang could play in the same team, which I think they can. I think Lacazette can play in the team too. So it's just a matter of Mikel Arteta getting these weapons on the pitch. Because if you've got Aubameyang and you've got Martinelli on, you've got some real speed. You've got real threats on there. And, you know, there won't be a lot of defenses who've got speed like these guys.
So let's get to your third question. And everyone, just so you know, we've already talked about this. So if you're joining late, where Kev summarizes at the very end and gives his opinion on his own questions. For me, it's a no-brainer. Unleash Martinelli. It's the type of move that could change the trajectory of the final act of your season. He's hungry, he's ready, he's willing to do whatever it takes once he puts on this shirt. And I think that if Aubameyang continues to misfire, why not give Martinelli a chance? And Mr. Mikel Arteta, you could look like an absolute hero and a genius if this happens. So watch this space for that. Kev, does Ødegaard, we're going to get to your answering Martin, and if we go after him whole hog and just go all out, like you said, he doesn't have a 300 million get out clause, does he? James Demetriou?
Yes, so listen, sometimes they put these ridiculous prices in the contract in Spain. But it's all negotiable at the end of the day. Because, look, he's been there a long time, Sophie. Mm-hmm. You know, should we sign Martin Ødegaard? I think, yes, we should sign him. But I think there are limits to where we go to sign him. And I think he's going to have such a good season. He's already showing us what he can do, even in a struggling team, Sophie. So you imagine if we're a team who starts to step it up, Aubameyang gets scoring, we will be a problem for a lot of teams. Mm. I think he's a player who's integrated himself into the squad really well. I think he plays with a efficiency and a simplicity that is difficult for a lot of players to play with because they don't have that mental capacity, that football brain that he's got is amazing. I think Aubameyang needs to get on his wavelength because there are goals there for Aubameyang if he gets on his wavelength. But I honestly do think that Mikel Arteta, I know there's other players, Awar and all these type of players, but I think I don't know how big the budget is, but we've got to try and get these players in the squad anyway, because we are not good enough as a squad to not get these guys. So Ødegaard, for me, is a key piece, but he's one of a few pieces that we need.
Kev, do you think some of the other players that we've talked about, like Buendia, are we hot on Ødegaard now because we've seen him, he's integrated into the team and he's playing? So, you know, also people were balking at 50 million for Buendia because everyone's like, why should we pay that? He's playing in the Championship right now. You know, so then you you can't bulk at whatever Ødegaard's fee is going to be. But at the same time, when Real Madrid know they have a massive asset, they know we want him, the negotiation changes, doesn't it, Kev?
Of course it does.
And they need the money. They need the money.
Yeah, listen, they're going to have to upgrade. They're doing their stadium at the moment, and they're playing all their home games at the training facility. So, that's difficult in itself. They need. I think they're going to go all out for Mbappe.
Yeah, that's right? The play they want.
They're going to go all out for Mbappe, I believe. And if we could fund the good part of it, then they're gonna try for it. They are going to try for it. And we're in choppy waters right now, Sophie, because the better this young man plays, he's adding 5 million, 10 million, 20 million on his so-called price tag.
So I want you to answer this, please, because I had asked you this question, but Temp Step is bringing up another good point, and I think you could reiterate for those that weren't listening to the show last week. Is it possible that they would loan him to us again? I say no, because they're so desperate for the money and they want to fund the Mbappe deal. What are your thoughts?
We don't know. That's the problem, Sophie. We don't know. They might say, look, yeah, we'll loan you Ødegaard, but we want a fee for him for the loan. And if they said, right, we loan him to you, but we want 15 million for a season, do you do it? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, you could buy 2 Martinellis for that. But how many Martinellis are there out there for 8 million these days? Those kind of deals.
There's only one Martinelli.
I mean, it's tough, isn't it? So
it's and again, the negotiating business is such hot water right now because he's doing so well. Real Madrid are just sitting back. Yeah, we don't want him to go. We want to keep him. Of course, they're going to say that. But if we can get him for another season, would it? And they said, right, give us 15 million. Who in the chat would pay 15 million for one season for another season for Ødegaard?
By the way, Maddison now would be sold for 80 million. So that 25 million was a great investment. And Kev, someone's bringing up, and a few people have brought up ESR, like, i.e., if we lose out on Ødegaard, does ESR? We've got ESR, but we all know that we.
But it's not this. No. If you look at him, look, ESR is a damn fine player. Don't get me wrong. But you see the difference in ESR and Ødegaard. It's a difference. ESR is getting to that level. Ødegaard is at that level.
Kev, would you pay the fee if it was another loan? Would you pay the 15?
I'd pay it. Right. I'd pay it. 15 million, take it. Give him the player for another season. Because you see what difference he can make. And by then, hopefully, you've got more pieces in the team as well. So you're only going to be stronger. And if he knows everybody already, he's already settled.
Some great questions from Super Kev on Kevin Says Tonight. 500 plus strong crowd in live chat right now, Kev. Thank you to everyone who's been joining us. Remember, if you like us and you hate Tottenham, hit the like button. I mean, this is the new rule. Come on. On your way out or on your way in, it's so easy. Hit that like button if you hate Tottenham. I'm sure all 527 of you do hate Tottenham. And Mr. J, Torreira's on loan, Guendouzi, Willock, Mavropanos. We've talked about this. Bellerin's still here. Bellerin will not. I think this has been indicative of Arteta's plans. He's starting, I'm not going to say experiment, Kev, towards the end of the season in the league. But the fact that we're seeing Martinelli a little more, the fact that we've seen Chambers, we've seen more of Cedric.
Yeah.
We're seeing, some of these switches. How much, because in football, in American football, basketball, hockey, once the season's done for a team, they start testing, the stars for next season, right? They throw him in, the backup quarterback, whatever it is. Do you think that's the case here at all? Or do you think Arteta still believes in the players that he's picking versus I'm looking to see who's going to be part of this Arsenal team going forward? Can he afford that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he has to. You know, he hasn't seen Callum Chambers. Callum Chambers has been injured for most of the time he's been at the club. So give him a chance and see how he does. And to be fair, Callum didn't have a brilliant game at Burnley, but he didn't have a bad game. He done okay. And against West Ham first half, where everyone was like, "Oh no, you know, he's having a nightmare." But again, for that hour, he done okay. Set Aubameyang up for the first. He put that cross in, you know, that got turned in into his own net by Dawson. So he made a significant difference, and I think he got man of the match, didn't he, for Arsenal or whatever. So a fair play, you know, a couple of assists. So he's proven himself. He probably wants to be part of the new regime. So, you know, it's one of them. Let's see what happens.
It's
and Sophie, we played excellent second half without Bellerin, and Pepe came on and done something as well.
Yes. And the overlord of procrastination has just defined his name of procrastinating and just now getting to the show. I had to share that one.
At least
he's very, very honest. Yeah. And then I think Alcarp's last post was my favorite. I don't know if you guys saw it, but basically here it is. I hate Tottenham so much, I'm going to make 10 more accounts and press the like button on each of them. That's brilliant.
That's nice, Alcarp.
Yeah.
Love that.
And you're right. I mean, we talk about this, Sire, a lot on our show about Foden and managing him and how, you know, Arteta's managing Martinelli and, you know, there's a lot still to happen. It's so funny when you actually start looking at and being happy at games that we win or draw, you guys, and then you stop and think about what we need to do to be competitive in the Premier League again. It is a massive, massive job. Kev, it's because when you start looking at things like Lacazette versus Aubameyang's form's shaken things this season. No matter how you look at it, he's put the cat among the pigeons in terms of Arsenal fans asking, well, now who's the most important? The goal machine is no more, but will the goal machine come to be again? Lacazette plays better, as you've said many times, in that number 9 role, interacts with Ødegaard, ESR, Saka, whoever's playing in that forward line. And then you ask yourself, well, Bellerin, is his time up? Is Cedric the answer? Can Chambers really emerge again in this team? I mean, I don't know. I'd go out and buy a right back if it were me.
Me too. I'd go and buy a right back. So Cedric and the right back could battle for that right back spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Because for me, Chambers has been there too long, been sent out on loan. It's been too long to know. You know about Chambers.
We know he's not consistent enough.
And you know about Xhaka. You know about El Neni. You know about these players. Guys, we're talking about the future of Arsenal Football Club becoming competitive again, let alone challenging in the Premier League again. This requires an overhaul, a continued overhaul. We got rid of a lot of stuff in January and the click, Kev. Yeah. And now, in order to really turn the engine up and put it in 5th gear, I think we can't get soft. And we have to continue to be ruthless. No sentiment. No,
listen, the ruthless streak this summer has to be ruthless. And I mean, nobody is safe. And something we discussed on yesterday, Sophie. If we get a chance to sign Oblak, would you take him?
Are you hearing something? Or are you fishing? Are you going fishing?
I'm asking a question.
Hey, I don't think Atletico want to buy Torreira, right? Torreira's probably Italian bound. But if we're negotiators of the highest order, then why not? Well, I think we have to do these kinds of deals, Kev. We got a wheel and deal. We may have to barter player for cash.
We may have to.
And some people thought we were hard on Leno. Some people are now.
Listen, some people. One thing I will ask them: is Leno a top-level goalkeeper? Is he? I think he's a good goalkeeper, but I don't think he's at that top level where you say he is world class. Oblak is world class. I watch him week in, week out. He's unbelievable. He's the best keeper in the world. I'm telling you now, he's the best. And if you want to make that defense better,
do you know
may
what,
just
Kev?
have to look.
Do you know what? Even though Leno didn't make as many mistakes as, oh my God, brain fart. Chelsea's goalkeeper, Kepa.
Kepa, yeah.
Right? The difference Mendy has made to Chelsea in that position is unreal. They've only conceded 1 or 2 goals since Tuchel's taken over, Kevin.
No mistakes.
No mistakes. And I don't want this to become I don't want people to think we're bashing Leno, because we're not.
We're not at all.
There were a few people on our YouTube, on the YouTube show the other day, because, you know, there were a lot of people who were upset with Leno and his performance against West Ham and previous performances, Kev. Yeah. And there were a lot of people that were questioning his height and his stretch. And in those, and I know, you know what, sometimes, Kev, you can save a goal if you're taller. I mean, these are facts. You can Antonio could have scored maybe 2 more goals against us if he was an inch taller. I mean, these are just
That's a song, isn't it? I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a
little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. But some people think he's a worldie, like that boy, and other people question whether or not he's the answer going forward. And so the question I asked Kevin on the show the other day is, if you're really going to build a team, a serious team, look in the mirror with no sentiment and be ruthless, right? Ruthless. Manchester United, you could argue, Kev, maybe they would be in a different position because De Gea's saved them. Right?
Yeah, he's made some howlers.
And he's made some howlers. You know, Manchester City, Ederson, he's like a sweeper and a goalkeeper. The guy's unbelievable, but they've got a great backup in Zach Steffen as well, who's hardly put a foot wrong when he's been asked to come in. Chelsea evolved with Mendy at the back. You know, Alisson has been a brick wall for Liverpool. Okay, this season's been a bit different for them. You have to ask yourself, if you really want quality in every position, you guys, is he the answer? And Super Kev doesn't think so, I think.
No, I question it, because if you could, my question is, if you could get Oblak, would you go for him?
So I would.
That's my question.
Yeah.
Because, we improve as a team and we get better. Leno probably he'd be all right. But again, that goal against West Ham, the second one, although we went to sleep, I just think it went through him, and he should be saving that. Sorry, that's just me. It wasn't smashed at him. It wasn't, it didn't catch him unawares. I just think Leno has lapses of concentration, and we can't afford it.
And I think I agree with so many like Lennox and who have putting it. He's a great shot stopper. He's questionable when he has to come out of the 6-yard box in his judgment sometimes, Kev. He did have that run of 5 clean sheets. Some people are saying he doesn't have a brick wall enough in front of him, so he's more vulnerable and susceptible. I would argue that's the area we've improved in. And so I think you need to be asking the right questions. This isn't about the defense. This is about Leno's attributes as a goalkeeper. Is he really 6'3"? Someone said he's 6'3". That seems.
Yeah, I think he is.
Really? He looks shorter. He looks shorter than that. And this is it. Is he commanding enough? When he's under pressure, how does he handle the ball? How does he handle these situations? He has
what
made
we got
some amazing saves. 100%, Matt Kay.
We're not saying he doesn't.
We're not saying that. What Kev's saying is if you
we're
get
not saying
Oblak on the
he's
table.
not a good goalkeeper. He is a good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But if you got the chance to get the best,
yeah,
would you take it? That's all.
We can continue this one tomorrow night as well a little bit. It's 1 hour, 15 minutes in on Kevin Says Tonight. Almost 600 of you in live chat. We're so grateful that you've joined us, and we're really happy that you're enjoying the conversation. It's so good. People asking if I'm married in chat, hilarious. People asking Kev, to join Arsenal as the director of football, brilliant as well. Everyone's saying he's 6'3". Kevin, honestly, I thought he was like 6'1.5". I didn't realize he does. Yeah. So here's my concern: 6'3", and not as commanding as his stature, his height.
Yeah, but we bought him. He was what, 25, and that's pretty young for a goalkeeper, top goalkeeper. Because remember, they mature differently to a lot of outfield players. These little mistakes in him, they're from their inexperience and playing in the Premier League and all these things. He has to learn that consistency. Whereas if you go for an Oblak or one of them, they're consistent. They're consistent. You just know what you're going to get week in, week out. And the top keepers save you 15 points a season, Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd say is, what is it, 2/3 of the season gone right now? Give us an extra 10 points and where are we? We're up there. I mean,
Kev,
we're right up there.
In the seasons where Oba was scoring like a machine and almost won the Golden Boot, Leno was also saving. He really was. He really saved us on many, many occasions. So I just want to make it clear again. We're not saying we would sell Leno. No. We're not digging him out. We're saying that if an Oblak is on the table, would you do the deal? Would you do the deal? Let us know. Hit us up at Highbury Squad. Email us the highburysquad@gmail.com too. Hit us up in the YouTube chat as well once the show is over. Let us know what you think. A brilliant edition of Kevin Says. Great questions. And Yaya, we love that you love the show too. Thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. Great stuff. Great stuff. Listen, Kev would take LeBron all day long. All day long.
Well, he's injured at the moment, so he's got high ankle sprain. So we're gonna rest him up a little bit. But yeah.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. We'll talk about the dream of if we sign Ødegaard, can he convince Haaland to come to the Arsenal? We'd have to pay out the wazoo. We'd have to mortgage the Emirates all over again.
Well, sometimes you got to take that chance.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. Not quite, Sonny, but we're thankful for the compliment here. Does that mean we're one of the most good-looking podcasts? I don't know. Super Kev is brilliant, Taib. Absolutely well said. We get the legend on most nights, but then this is a special night where he just answers your questions, and this is your show. As you know, you create the dialogue and the content. So we're going to be back tomorrow night for another edition of the Highbury Squad. We've got some great guests coming up this week, next week. I'll let you know about some new stuff on tomorrow's show as well that we're really excited about. Don't forget, go to our friends at footballprizes.co.uk for this sexy little number. It's the signed banana design, one of the all-time greats from the Arsenal, signed by the legend that is Ian Right. So make sure you go grab that. Remember to join the Futbol App community. It's in the description of this show as well. Super Kev special invitation.
Come and check it out. Come and join, guys.
Yep. And if you have any questions on that, you can reach out to Kev anytime. He is more than happy to answer all your questions. You can also reach out to us at the highburysquad@gmail.com as well. Thank you, Tashi. I'm with the GOAT, by the way. And thank you guys for joining us. Really just, we appreciate it so much. We will be back tomorrow. We love you. Thank you so much for joining us. Awesome, epic content once again. And until tomorrow, Super Kev, let the troops know. Let the squaddies know.
Right attitude
At ease, squaddies. Up the arse, though.